Hey ghouls and gals, it's the Cryptid Pumpkin, and today we are continuing our Halloween countdown with growing my grandpa. There's a grandpa and we're growing him. No, I don't need no tutorials, not once, not never. Life didn't tutorial me. Week 1. I excuse Adrienne during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Miss Richardson's classroom observations concerning Adrienne's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she absolutely must. Something she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Before the meeting, I read Miss Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrienne's home life. The parents are well educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrienne. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. So very young. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, for it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmise that I would be able to reach out to Adrienne by way of make-believe. Yeah, oh. You're a creepy little girl, I'm sorry. I don't mean to judge, The media portrays a lot of creepy little girls. It's never good. It's never good. They're always like soulless demons or ghosts. How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it can still be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The basement. I like that. The basement? Yeah, well, there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. Your mom and dad made you go? Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. Why did they send you down there? Fighting. They were fighting, shouting. I came in to help, and they shouted at me. They said, go clean up downstairs. So I went. That sounds tough. Did they fight a lot? No, well, that's not a good sign. It's alright, Adrienne. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Okay, well, it was a bit weird at first, the stuff down there, but cool. I found something living, sort of. Grandpa? That's very interesting, Adrienne. Please tell me more. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrienne's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrienne's stories seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Whatever might come of this next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. Adrienne's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags, so she went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Trash bags. Ooh, they get little wormies on them. Hand. Trash bags. Worm. Garbage? Oh, garbage. Garbage. Clean. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window, I offered. No, she said, like a mirror. Reflecting inwards towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the inexplicably fantastic and imaginary. Oh, weird. Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew, or extended, its shaggy-haired self. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not like the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like the hair on a brush. A bristle offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked, faceless figurines. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the anonymity she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I'm unsure of what to make of that. The revealing of the concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one of example. Ew. You make little noises. Mystery thingy. Nothing over here. The darkness of the shadowy corridor unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. I need some light. I gotta get that light. Trash pile. Clean up. Clean up. No? There wasn't really a lot of trash in that pile. This. Yes. Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passageway, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. Ooh, hello, closet. Take the doll. Ew, a slouching doll. Its material is coarse and rough. Rough and coarse. You get what I mean. Set it backwards. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. Oh, garbage. Basura. Garbage. Garbaggio is just like me. It's garbage. Hey, it's garbage. I'm the trash man. In the trash can. Trash man. It's a trash man. Give me my glue. Glue. All-purpose glue. A photo of your late grandfather. Look at that man. Look at that mustache. Ooh, I could read it. Mr. PhD. On the reverse side of the photograph, there is more text. Good luck on your trip to the Urals. Stay warm. Papers crudely bound together to form a book. Eurasian steppe shamanism and the fusiform gyrus. An interdisciplinary study in sympathetic magic. A dissertation. I could have read it. There's no. Okay, cool. The impetus of this research was the recognition of a particular pattern in fragments of documents relating to magic and magico-religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, hagiographs of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance, from the Levant to the Khazar Khanate to the border of the modern nations of Russia and Kazakhstan today. Oh, there's more. From this paper trail arose a consistent account about a certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will, a demon called the Heaven of Needles. Well, we got a needly thing in the other room. Or the Angel of Needles, could be a good thing, was known to be kept best by shamanistic keepers or wards who suffered from face blindness. Prosopagnosia, whether by birth or through developmental causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective but terribly dangerous, so much that it became outlawed several times and was generally a popular scapegoat relating to unexpected death. This nexus of magico-religious meaning-making sorcery regarding human-related desires and the history and science of neurological disorders related to the fusiform gyrus is where the subject of this dissertation will reside. I will outline further and then analyze the historical sources I mentioned previously. Then I will go on to the neurology of mystic and magico-religious experiences. After that, I will detail my ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region who is an expert folklorist and keeper of traditions he claims have been passed down through his extended family for generations. Grandpa went to those mountains. Did Grandpa write this? Was Grandpa involved? I interrupted to ask her what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow Grandpa, she explained plainly, and then, without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask her what she meant. You fucking Grandpa? What? Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately. She explained slowly. I'm growing my grandpa. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room. The cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. Ah. Excellent. Excellent. Hello, door. Hello, paper. A hastily written note. I've repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosure area, seemingly severely concussed. Whiskers was gone, in none of its usual hiding places. I immediately suspected the worst. The project thus must be suspended for now. I am leaving up the usual mirrored coverings we use to keep the anthropomorphic void sealed. I have done my best to lock up everything on such short notice. This is a hasty fix, but it will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intend to lock the house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox keys. Do not worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped. It is only being kept alive as a means of continuing predation on all of us, or the rest of us. Predation. I will once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, I'll say once again, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which could imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Our extant research materials have become impossible liabilities, either criminal or professional in nature. So, I have stashed them away. I believe I let you all know how I might do this if we were ever to experience an event such as this. I hope you all remember what I told you. So long then, Dr. H. Dr. Ph.D. Beyond the door in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It is strange, almost poetic, the elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. Captivity. No tape. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided at first. She took the magic doll, the magic loo, and the photo of her grandpa, and she combined them, and she wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy that next her wish would come true. In what child's story would it not? Glue. Shader, resolution, color screen. Okay. I have glue. Grandpa. Doll. Glue. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put Grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished with all her heart, and then she told me she waited a while for anything to happen. But after that time, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It hurt me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her exactly what she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrienne, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing, I interpret the impressions I may get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Is what someone who could read would have said, but, that wasn't me. So, knowledge you acquire this week has given you access to certain topics or keywords you can discuss with Grandpa. Oh, well, I've gained the conversation topic wish. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Nice. Sure. Okay, we got the following keyword. Shell. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Okay. Week 2. I met again with Adrian in order to address her emotional outbursts in the past few weeks. It is our second time meeting, and while it is standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I could not help but think, as we sat down in my office, that Adrian already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence, and perhaps my and Miss Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was erroneous. You know, you can do a lot when Grandpa's got your back, you know? He raised you up. It's Grandpa. You know? He's got your back. He's always there for you. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrian possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When I began once again asking her about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So once again, I partake in some collaborative make-believe, but this time I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrian's grandfather, and I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds, some as a school counseling caseworker, but this was all in service to making Adrian comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make it a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of researcher, due to the fact that the nearly constructed laboratory on the campus I drove by every day bears his name in memorial. Grandpa? He was a pretty cool guy. He was some sort of anthropologist, or linguist, or neuroscientist. I did not have to dig that deep before the scope of his work became dizzying, and I ran up against my limits, to the limits of my undergraduate education. But back to the make-believe. What is your grandpa like? Is he a smart man? Not anymore, but I'm teaching him. So, he's grown a good deal then? You have been feeding him well? Yeah, he's getting bigger, but he still has lots of room in his cage. He's still behind the bars? Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually, but there's this vent in the ceiling. Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I can meet him someday. Yeah, maybe, but he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself, and I have to feed him, pick up after him. Ah, you store the food in your lunchbox? That's nice of you to share. He can almost talk. You cannot speak with him? He doesn't have a mouth, sort of. But how do you feed him? He has a mouth on the outside, on his shell, or the stuff that is his skin. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa? Grandpa sounds pretty gnarly. I don't know what's going on with the grandpa here. Okay. I asked her to explain how exactly she goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrian began another tale. According to Adrian, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. Oh, rearranging basement. Well, the thingy's not there. Okay. Door, way over here. We should go see Grandpa first. Okay, Grandpa. Grandpa, I'm home. It was scary at first, she said. The way he moved, the way the doll's skin covered him. I wanted to interject, but this somehow seemed inappropriate, but I kept listening. When I look at him, she continued, when I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he's growing for me. So, he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said. Bigger every day. Hello, Grandpa. Okay, well this begins the actual growing part of growing her grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person. Your grandpa. You are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it is able to sustain itself. On what? Can I ask that? Currently, you are observing Grandpa. Please click the arrow back button below for a brief tutorial on your duties as a caretaker. Okay. Oh, we got things going on here. Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. Highlighted in red are objectives related to feeding and teaching grandpa. Important messages regarding grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. You will need to find it food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make grandpa happy, others merely content. Some food will make grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Learning material is also scattered throughout the basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic anthropoetic concept formation. The options highlighted in red are related to navigating around grandpa's enclosure. The Go to Grandpa option will let you perform all actions directly related to grandpa: feeding, teaching, observing, etc. Accessing the study corner will let you go over any documents you pick up as the weeks go by. It's a good idea to learn about the work of the people who last occupied this space. Accessing the kitchen corner will let you search for food in the old refrigerator and prepare food for grandpa, if need be. The help button will replay this tutorial. The save button will save your current progress. You can only have one save file at a time, so if you have a saved data, you'll be asked if it's okay to overwrite it. The exit game button will take you back to the main menu. More buttons may or may not appear depending on your development of grandpa, so watch out for them. One final note. Take care to explore the basement at your leisure. However, due to the entropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things you had not previously discovered. Good luck. Well, that makes me feel like I should go look at some things. Can I save? Yes. Okay. Examine. Trash. Bulbous growth. Something appears to be growing from the wall. You take a closer look. A pulsating sac. The slimy membrane that is its skin seems to contain something. It might be able to open with a blade. Okay. Okay. Trash, 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 not trash. Corroded battery. It isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. Oh, okay. Grandpa's not super picky then? Trash, trash. Oh, I'm gonna get the trash. I'm gonna get the trash. Trash, trash, trash. You're getting trash. I'm the trash man. There is so much trash here. How does this trash just keep coming? Oh, okay. Ooh, what's this? Linguistics module. Hello. Teach grandpa this word to read the notes of past educators. Oh, okay, cool. Next. Darkness. Oh, yeah, dark room. Okay. Dark room. I cannot go. The hairy thing that was here before is gone. Is that grandpa? Is grandpa the hairy thing? Cabinet. Slouching under the weight of rot and refuse. Cabinet. Trash. Trash, trash, trash. Cabinet trash. There's a lot of trash down here. Is mom and dad just not putting out the garbage on the street every week? Are they just throwing trash downstairs? Don't do that. That's bad. Hey, there's blueberries. Why are there blueberries in the pile of trash? There's trash in the drawer. This is very trashy. Try not to live like this. Trash goes in the garbage, and there are faces in here. Hello, faces. Oh, don't mind me. Faces are never good. All clean, yay. An account of an acquisition. You can examine this in detail later in the study room. No, I want to read now. Before we began, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was, and on the inside as we stole brief glances at it, we can see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. The gave it small pieces of dough, spoiled food, chicken feed, keeping it content. The keeper gestured towards the small bag where the food composted and told us to be careful not to feed it any meat. I asked if the rotting food was enough to sustain it, how it might get nutrients from any of this. The keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed, the act of feeding itself was what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act, however. He then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-derived foods near where I might be keeping it. Okay, so don't give Grandpa meat ever or things made from animals? Is that like he can't have milk type of thing? Or is that like he can't have... I'm trying to think of something that's I'm trying to think of something that's animal without meat. Milk was my best thing. Cheese? No cheese? No cheese for Grandpa? Grandpa can't have cheese? Something about that painting looks strange. Search painting. Hello. Trash. A folder full of radiographic images. Okay, cool. Trash piles. More trash. Trash, 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 trash. I didn't realize part of the game was gonna be a trash cleaning simulator. To be fair, this is how my basement is. What is this? What is that? It looks like puke. It looks like puke. Puke, puke, puke. Fiberglass insulation. This really isn't food. Grandpa might eat it, however. Look, I know I'm not supposed to give him meat, but I don't know if I want to give him fiberglass. Oh, a note on experiment 1 out of 4. Oh, no, I wanted to read that. Oh no, okay, we'll just take them all. Take them all. Take them all. I'll have to read them later. I'll have to read them later. Enter. Hello, Grandpa. Study corner. Oh, education book. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Ooh, secret. A set of procedures regarding disposal/internment. The researcher will seal off the enclosure bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the latter fumigating progress, and then retrieve the burn barrel and place it near the enclosure. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related stimuli. Do not enter the enclosure area nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement wearing their assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and powered air purifying respirator. The researcher will use the vent system to fumigate the enclosure area. Wait 30 minutes and then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure, keeping the fans running during steps 3 and 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror mask and apron. The organism may or may not be in a complete dormancy. If it is not in full dormancy, be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned power drills, quickly remove any enclosure bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside later for reinstallation. Put the organism in the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. Turn off the fans. One researcher will retrieve the nucleus from the ash and place it in the mirror box. The other researcher will sift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room outside of the enclosure area. The bin is locked for safety purposes. The code is 323245. The researchers will fill out a termination form and leave it for Dr. Hart. 323245. Biohazard bin. Okay. Okay. More trash. Trash, trash, trash. Ooh, boy, how I love trash. What is this? Cashews. Oh, Grandpa might like cashews. Cashews aren't made out of animals. Or from animals, as far as I know. There's not a cashew animal out there, is it? Wild cashews roaming free. I feel like cashew would make a good pet name. Cashew. Come, cashew. It was said to pass from one family of steppe people to another, but pressed on its ultimate origin somewhere to the south, coiled in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard, a common late antiquity demon trap. The keeper, an elderly man in failing health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism, but when I asked more pointed questions about the history of its acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. So just stuff we shouldn't be messing with here, huh? Grandpa's a demon. Grandpa's a demon creature. Well, you know, you can't choose your family. Or demon creatures pretending to be your grandpa. This little girl just building a demon creature in her basement? Great. Wonderful. Okay, papers. Grandpa. Okay. We can learn to say Grandpa. He can learn to say his name like a Pokemon. this trash. I gotta clean all the trash. I gotta clean it up really good. Clean up the trash. Do 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 do. It's trash time. Do 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 do. Why is there so much trash? It gets dirty every week. Oh, these are things too. I thought these might be secrets. You remove the taped down fabric to veer the cabinet's wooden bottom. Oh, that was tape. Ooh. A note regarding cleanup procedures. Dear my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important and the material we are working on is potentially very dangerous. I will be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone. I am not trying to single any particular person out. We all have misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. 1. The active growth must be thoroughly terminated via the correct procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures, or how much the anthropomorphic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to termination has been posted by the enclosure wall. Please, 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 do not place the educational posters over this posting. 2. Do not disrupt the anthropoidic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. In case of any emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how the breach occurred. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're all well aware from the stories we've heard on our acquisition trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. William. Oh, William, you're gone now, right? William, you're dead as hell. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not require a shell, but you may find the sample will often try to seize on something somewhat flexible it can grow into, along with any desirous yield it may generate, or else it'll move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I have spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human forms. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropoidic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it to long-term anthropoid stimuli. Dr. Hart. Dr. Hart. Dr. Hart. Medical imaging device. Oh yeah. You slid the radiographic images you found onto the machine's display. Beep. Oh. What is this? Is this the thing? Propagation 21, day 19 after dormancy, vacuum broken, yes, term at least 21 days. Intriguing results with regard to mimicry hypothesis. A participant entered a sealed chamber adjacent to Whiskers, growth cycle 21, which had been freed from the anthropoidic vacuum, constructed quite economically from plastic and broken mirrors. The first propagation's original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the move-in. Between the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The human participant was asked to think of someone in the popular consciousness, fictional or no, and cogitate on their image, personality, face if possible, voice if possible, etc. Our participant chose Jesus of Nazareth, and with weekly repeated exposures to the participant's imaging, propagation 21 began forming what resembled an anthropoid Nazarene in the fold of its spines. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out a result that Whiskers would form an anthropoid team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald, and we assumed it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. Hart was always contended the desirous yield, or the anthropoid reproduction Whiskers creates when in contact with human beings has always been based on the conception and relation to the person through someone else. With this framework, the desirous yield is not actually a replica of a person, or if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person generated in the mind of another. This desirous yield was not Jesus Christ, but the participant's image of Jesus assembled from their religious upbringing, religious artwork, depictions in popular culture, etc. This radiograph was taken right before the destruction of the growth cycle while Whiskers was rendered unconscious via fumigation. It seems like with every successive propagation, the stem cells in the organism work a little faster, but I'm not paranoid. It's technically deathless, yes, but we're burning up whatever knowledge it's gained when we incinerate it. I don't believe in magic just yet. Huh. Okay. Oh, I guess a little kind of Jesus there, huh? Maybe? Days of dormancy. Got some cool stuff there. We have taken to calling it whiskers, though of course some have interpreted it as hair or needles or quills, but whiskers is more accurate as the needles are really more like suprasensory follicles or spines. The nerve nets distributed through the morphology of these spines resemble those of a genus Hydra, but have myelin sheaths that are functionally the same as vertebrae. As we can see in the X-ray, each spine is laden with dense optical arrangements similar to compound eyes. Ew. The Hydra connection is assuredly worth investigating with regard to the organism's capacity for regeneration and anecdotal deathlessness. It certain is a robust enough creature to inspire marvel that is not untinged with fear. Oh, we got a couple. Okay, what's 14 days after dormancy. Term 16 days. Okay. Exposure to mammalian forms, part of a series of zoomorphic influences, led to further understanding of the propagation's ability to stimulate the somatic stem cells that constitute fully developed animals. I write stimulate in the previous statement because examining the tissue of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity for accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes from its cell-level mutability. And yet, at no time does it function as the thing it becomes except in the sense that it mimics it. That is to say, when Whiskers is removed from dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not seeing from the rabbit's eyes nor smelling from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does and doing a very good job of it. Oh, okay. Creepy. This radiograph was taken at or around growth cycle 4. The strange thing about it was that the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of Whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we've learned a lot since then, but at the time I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not really even resembling any extant zoomorphic structure, besides maybe a cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead amoeba-like things, but they all sort of looked like they had faces. Faces that were just barely there. After I took the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to go throw it in the biohazard bin. Threw it in the biohazard bin. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear Whiskers suddenly going wild, flopping around and grunting excitedly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be without the stimulus of an active brain, or more specifically a healthy and active brain capable of face recognition and theory of mind. Whiskers begins to pull whatever it can from the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at this time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look. Oh, kind of like a face thing in there, huh? Weird. Weird, Grandpa. Whiskers. Whiskery Grandpa. You look at these things. Okay. I think we got it all. I think so. Oh yeah, we read that. We read it. Yes. Okay. Okay. Can I go to the kitchen to do anything? Oh, I can search fridge. What's this? Lettuce. Looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Oh yeah, and it's not meat. That's good. Not meat. Aw, banana. Soft fruit or vegetable, unappealing item. Banana? Why would I put those in there? Is that good? Is battery banana? And batteries concealed in the browning banana flesh. Why would I do that? Okay, sorry, Grandpa. I'm gonna give you some bad food, I guess. Maybe I'll save before I do it. Just in case, right? You guys won't say anything, right? Okay, well, let's go talk to Grandpa. Oh, he's sitting in a little chair. You examine Grandpa, noting his movements, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and rarely cooperative once fed and taught a word or two. Okay, can I talk to Grandpa? No response. Okay. Teach him, and if he learns, we can feed him. Okay, hello. Would you like... Okay, yeah, tell me. This tutorial will go over teaching Grandpa pronunciation and vocalization. The vocabulary word you picked will appear in the top left corner. In the bottom right corner will be a pentagon that is divided into 8 sections. A section of the pentagon will be highlighted briefly. A notification sound will play, and soon another section will be highlighted. You will control a small round icon that sits above the pentagon by using your mouse. The ball is constrained to limits of the pentagon. The goal is to keep your icon over the highlighted area and move it as the area changes sections around the pentagon. When you hold left click above the correct area, the icon will start to vibrate along with the simulated vocal cords, and the current letter will begin to turn red. Keep holding it over the area and adjust your icon as it changes places. Soon the letter will become fully red. For every letter becomes red, Grandpa will probably pronounce the word and it'll be considered learned. Okay. Teaching Grandpa these words will accelerate its cognitive development and lead to further breakthroughs in general intelligence. Okay, that seems easy enough. I just gotta hold myself in the little area. But what is happening? Is that a mouth? Okay, we're going to it. We're doing it? Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. Okay, Grandpa. Grandpa. Oh, were the spots I'm supposed to do? Okay. Deep within Grandpa's strange memories. Ah, okay. I mean, yeah, that's kind of hello. That's a way to say hello, yeah. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card, and some notes are written by administrators of the past. Hello. Part of vocabulary and vocalization module A2, conversational basics. General pronunciation comments. Sloppy articulation. Module comments see below. We are already encountering some difficulty as Whiskers subjectively is so much more determined by a diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts, and these imitations go on to structure the basics of its identity. Only later in Whiskers' growth cycle does it begin to form an identity or identities that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet oriented in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Okay, interesting. Just a bunch of... He's just like a changeling with too much going on. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation: greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, 19 I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. You step away from the bars and store the module card in the document table. Okay, we gotta give you another word, Grandpa. Another word. We're gonna teach you how to say your own name, Grandpa. Oh, your weird mouth thing. We're doing it, Grandpa. Yay, Grandpa! Say your name. That was better. That was better. Look at you saying your name, Grandpa. Having completed... Grandpa. After completing the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card, and the notes were written by the administrators of the past. Grandpa. Part of the vocalization module E81 family. General pronunciation comments. Usual trouble with articulation, voice thin, raspy, possibly underdeveloped larynx. Module comments see below. We have done several sessions of what we are calling familiar relation simulation. I and a researcher sit in chairs opposite of the enclosure. We are wearing the usual masks, and we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation. That might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials would reveal, although our stimulated conversation was purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities, we would only address each other as brother, father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent the encoded information associations we unconsciously draw upon when hearing or speaking these words was being picked up on by Whiskers in its psi-type field of reception/interpretation of brain/mind event/somatic content. My co-researcher William noticed this in a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain problems with unusual specificity, as well as a general pattern and timbre. That word. Of speech that continued with unusual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended and we left the enclosure area, William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister. Mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neural activity are intercepted by the psi-type field will take extensive neural imaging that we do not have at the site. Currently, we only have less precise portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanations regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it has access to certain portions of the limbic system and ventral temporal cortex. Okay, that was a lot. Let's feed Grandpa. Grandpa, time to eat. Oh, Grandpa, you look so gross. Grandpa. Sure, teach me how to feed Grandpa. I didn't think I'd ever say that. Okay, so the introduction of your... This brief tutorial will go over the basics of feeding Grandpa via induction of your unprotected insula. Grandpa has simulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed through this in order to properly learn and grow. First, you need to select an item from the lunchbox. Click on the lunchbox. Okay, and then we can see the stuff there. Nice food and bad food. Select an item from the lunchbox. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. Note that any food can be put back into the lunchbox by clicking on the lunchbox with a full hand. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must judge the food by smell. Wait, oh, is that his face there in the background? Oh, weird. Okay, that's a big mouth thing. Okay, so hover a hand above his olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa's pleased, it'll allow you to feed it. Most foods Grandpa will accept. However, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. This is a battery. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm going to have to feed you a battery. Well, when Grandpa's going to be fed, hover your hand over his mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Good luck on feeding Grandpa. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to say before I feed him because I did all those words. So if he eats the battery and it's bad... Yeah. Sorry, Grandpa. Okay. He slides quickly to greet us. Okay. Oh, look at your gross little mouth. Is your nostrils over here? Okay. There's like Holmes, concealed powder. Well, let's just get that over with then, huh? Can you smell it? Grandpa's unable to detect the appealing item with the food and will accept it. Okay. Oh, your little hand, mouth, my hand. Although quickly consumed, the meal seems to cause some indigestion. With his tongue lurch, Grandpa empties his stomach onto the floor. The contents pull together in front of the cage. Gross. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I didn't mean to, Grandpa. Look, I'll get you some blueberries. Want some blueberries? It's palatable. Yeah, good. Yum, 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 Grandpa. The meal appears to have been sufficient. How much things do I have to feed him? You step away from the window bars, and Grandpa silently slides back to the corner. Acceptable foods eaten with the... Okay. No, Grandpa, come back here. Come back here, Grandpa. I got some cashews. They're dusty. He seems indifferent to the smell, but we'll accept it. Yeah, there you go. You're growing. Grandpa, you're so gross. The meal was sufficient. Bye, Grandpa. He grunts in appreciation and locomotes towards his favorite corner. Yay! Oh, can I talk to you now? Wait. Grandpa accedes to your request. It approaches the bars and begins to unknit its skin. The inner Grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it if it can respond. Oh, like the little doll thing. This is head and okay. My wish? With a great deal of effort, Grandpa gurgles fragmented thoughts through its ill-formed lips. Mother, will father. New lives out of the air. The dark, spiny filaments that make up the majority of Grandpa's body begin to oscillate rapidly. The air behind your eyes, I can taste it. Okay, cool. Oh, what about your shell thing, Grandpa? With a great deal of effort, Grandpa gurgles fragmented thoughts through its ill-formed lips. Skin, my body, all human skin around me. I don't like hearing that, Grandpa. Give more, not my skin, Grandpa. Grow more to fit. How am I gonna grow your skin? I can't do that for you, Grandpa. You cannot have my skin, Grandpa. What about the biohazard bin? Isn't that what burned you up with a great deal of effort? Okay, it says, however, it fails to produce more than a wet, frustrated sputter. It's kind of like... Bye, Grandpa. Grandpa slightly ascends back into its shell. Oh, stomach contents. Ooh. Oh, wasn't there a... Yeah, it's still somewhat wet. Okay, there was like a... Grandpa, I'll be back. Where was the... Wasn't there a box somewhere? Box. Safe? No, it was a safe. Cabinet? No. Yeah, there we go. It pops open. A photo of your mother as a young woman. The recognition of this face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. Okay, anything else? Okay. Mom photo. Okay. Got it. Cool. Explore the basement. I did. I got that. Okay. Well, that's the first week of, or was it week 2? I think I might have been week 2 now, of growing my grandpa. Weird, really bizarre, but in a cool way. I heard it was weird, but I hadn't had the chance to experience it myself. And hey, I am glad you were here with me to just be a part of this. Well, this has been a lovely time, and you, as usual, have been lovely. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Until I see you next time, bye!